Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the zone. Yes. Figured it's about time.
I'm listening, man.
Chillax. I'm gonna do a video on Stalker. Stalker,
What's
yes.
up, bro?
Stalker is the series of 3 right now. Survival FPS, pretty hardcore PC exclusives. These games are awesome. And this is going to be a retrospective because they're not new. Yeah, they've been out for a while. And even though there is news in the form of Metro Last Light coming out, that does remind a lot of people of Stalker. They're almost like brother and sister games sometimes considered. They're still quite different mechanically, but you get the idea. Well, the main reason I'm doing this is, one, because they're still relevant because they're amazing, and also because the dev team may be working on, hopefully, well, what's left of around them, maybe hopefully working on bringing Servarium to life, or Servarium, which you should look up.
Aloha!
Indeed. Now, the main reason I'm doing this, though, is because recently we've been getting an influx of survival games, yeah, or games with a survival element, like, say, we've gotten Far Cry 3, we've gotten Tomb Raider, we've gotten a host of easier, sort of easy mode roguelikes, and some other stuff like that. Namely, I'm really thinking of games like Tomb Raider and Far Cry, though. Right. Well, the thing is, every time I'm looking at a survival game like that, I'm wishing they could have done the survival part a little bit better. And whenever I find myself looking to something, like, well, I wish they could have done it like this, or thinking of better examples, or thinking of ways I really liked it, I always find myself thinking back to Stalker. These games are pretty hard. This is going to be mainly focusing on the third in this series, which is Stalker Call of Pripyat. Now, that's my favorite one, but there isn't really a best Stalker game. So the 3 in order, the very first one is Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, which is great. It's a really good game. A little buggy, but there are lots of fixes and mods that, well, that fix it. Then came Stalker Clear Sky, which is smaller, has less of an open world feel, and again is a bit buggy. However, it's generally considered to be the least good, but that doesn't mean it's bad, because it's not. And then there's the third and last one, which is Stalker Call of Pripyat. Now, on this, right now, as you can see if I go to the menu, I'm playing it with a mod called Cigarus Mod, also known as SGM. I'm using the newest version, which is 2.2. It's an all-in-one package. There are lots of mods for Stalker games, yeah? Lots of... interestingly enough, most of them are actually basically like total conversion mods. Some other really good names to know besides SGM would be things like Lurk and Misery. And there are others too, OGSE, Doom's Mod Merge, la-di-da, there are tons, just look them up. I'll actually link you to the all-in-one SGM page, along with some instructions later. But really, the first time you play through a Stalker game, you should play through it vanilla, aside from maybe some texture stuff and some bug fixes. Now after that, feel free to mod the crap out of it, and don't use Complete. Now why? Why? Everybody says use Complete. Complete's a really popular mod. Everybody should use Complete, right? No! Don't use Complete. The reason you should not use Complete is it is not the proper Stalker experience. It is better vanilla. The Complete tends to be a grouping of uncredited and outdated mods of various sorts with dishonest goals, like this doesn't change the gameplay, when in fact it makes the gameplay easier and things like that. Don't use Complete, folks. Friends don't let friends use the Stalker Complete mods. Now, let's just get into it right now.
Come on over, bro. I've got all the shit you're ever gonna need.
Well, that's a pretty good pitch if I've ever heard one, so here we go. Let's talk about some of the mechanics of the game. Now this is my inventory. Your inventory is not limited by space. As you can see, I can scroll down really far. This is his inventory technically, but mine will do this as well. So you don't have to play inventory Tetris, you aren't actually limited by space. What you are limited by is weight. Now, I'm actually carrying a little too much weight right now because I've got too much food and ammo on me. But that's because I just got to this area and brought a whole bunch of stuff with me. What are these? Quadro rounds. Ooh. Anyway, right. As you can see, there's a large variety of weaponry, armor, and ammunition. Consumables, it uses a really cool ammunition system. I love ammo types, so it uses a realistic ammo system, and that is not the only thing of this game that is very realistic in nature. It is obviously a bit fantastical in that you're in the zone, which is the 30-kilometer exclusion zone around Chernobyl power plant. This is a alternate history experience. The original Chernobyl disaster happened in this universe as well, in 1986, I believe. But here in, I think it was 2006, another disaster happened, and things are going really freaking wonky in the zone. So there are mutants and these weird artifacts and anomalies and places where time and space just kind of, they don't agree with each other, or you. So a lot of what you're seeing here are going to be things like Warsaw Pact weapons, and some other stuff like that, which is kind of cool, actually. I've got my heavily modified AK-M74 Cyclone. It actually uses 5.45 ammo, which isn't really used a lot anymore. Again, Warsaw Pact stuff. This is what you see a lot now, 5.56 ammunition. I don't have something that I really like that uses that right now. But anyway, you're seeing part of the game, a big part of the game, which is resource management. This is one thing that I feel a lot of survival experiences get wrong recently. Things like Tomb Raider and things like Far Cry, and that you kind of either become John Rambo about an hour and a half into the game, or you don't really have to manage your space or your supplies. Ammunition becomes plentiful shortly into the game and things like that, and the game may tout being able to, have to conserve. It's the survival experience, but in reality, that goes away after like 2 hours of play and you're drowning in medkits and bullets. Also lots of Russian stuff, which is always good. So in my inventory, you can see that there are various things you gotta worry about. All of these down here are my resistances. Now, there's a lot to worry about. Just as a quick example, if you see in the bottom right corner of my screen, obviously the red gauge is health, the blue gauge is endurance or energy. It's expended when you sprint and when you jump, and it will recharge. If I go in like a dark background, you can see all those transparent symbols above the health bars. There's one that looks like a gun, one that looks like a piece of armor, one that looks like a blood drop, things like that. You have various status effects. They are kind of realistic in nature. You can bleed, you can become irradiated, you have to eat, your weapons and armor can degrade. You can actually become psionically damaged and all kinds of things. And these are things you gotta worry about. And my quick slots on the bottom left, you see I've got some first aid kits and some bandages and things like that. You gotta manage your health. There is no regenerating health in the normal sense. You do heal, but over a very slow period of time, as in like your natural body healing, not as in your health regenerates by hiding behind a wall for 10 seconds. It's also very dark. If I turn off my flashlight, I can't see crap. I absolutely can't see anything. I can see the flashlights of other stalkers around, but yeah, luckily this really awesome Seva suit has some built-in second-gen night vision. This is good. Now, a big part of the survival experience, as I've mentioned, is resource management. So weapons degrading is a big part of that, as well as the fact that you got bullets, and you don't have an infinite number of bullets, and they can be difficult to find sometimes, and also kind of expensive. Obviously, I'm in a pretty good place right now. I've got a pretty big stockpile of ammo for this weapon, but if I was to switch to 5.56, I've got like 150 rounds of that stuff. That's not gonna last me for long. I also need to repair this pistol fairly badly. I just got this recently. But anyway, so a realistic weaponry and ammo system really boosts up the survival experience of the game by making you think. Making you think a lot, actually. Now, as you can see, I've got this helmet effect around my HUD. If you don't like that, you can actually disable it. Actually, it starts disabled by default. So, yeah, if you don't like that, don't worry about it. You don't have to use it. It's just part of SGM and some other mods. In vanilla Stalker, it's not there at all. So, there you go. So, talking about Oh, yes, talking about the various, that is useless, types of survival experiences that have been dumbed down or let down by certain things. So the prevalence of ammunition and consumables is one thing that hurts a lot of survival games. In this case, definitely not. You've got to scrounge. It is open world. As you can see, look at all this. This is the world of the game. This is the area that you're likely to start in. This is Zeton. Go down here to Jupiter, where I'm at now. You will go to Pripyat eventually, and in SGM you can go to other places like the Cordon, Dark Valley, Red Forest, Agroprom, military warehouses, and even, what's that other one? Yeah, the marshes, which I absolutely despise. Absolutely despise. There is not really a fix necessarily, but an option to start in Zeton, which is where you normally start in Vanilla Call of Pripyat. However, with SGM installed, you start in the Cordon. In my opinion, the quests in the Cordon and in the marshes, which is where you go to after that, the two areas before you get to Zeton and actually start the game as normal, the quest design is very poor in this mod when it comes to those areas. So just search for the start in Zeton fix if you just find yourself being frustrated by the swamp especially. I do not like the marshes. But anyway, that's personal preference, and if you just want to start the game like normal, then you can do that just fine. So we've gotten through the fact that you have to actually manage your resources, ammunition, weapons, health. You know, you can die in lots of ways. Just getting shot isn't the only cause of death. Bleeding will hurt you a lot. Radiation, you've got to not have too much radiation build up. The consumable on F3 are anti-rad pills that help me... Balls! That help me purge radiation. That is one of the annoying as hell features of SGM, which is random... Not really random, that statically placed landmines. I hate them. One moment. Alright, well, that was lovely. Anyway, landmines, yes, bad, ignore them. Well, don't ignore them, because you'll probably die. But ignore the fact that I just died there. So let's talk about the other main part besides the management of things like food and bleeding and wounds and things like that. And that is the difficulty of Stalker. Now, the difficulty of these games reminds me a lot of the difficulty of the Souls games, that being Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I'm not saying the difficulty is even, although with things like Misery and things like SGM, they can be very difficult. But what I mean by that is that they are fair, usually, besides the BS landmines. You know why you died, and when you die, you just have to try again in a different way. Continuing to bang your head against the wall in the same way isn't going to get you anywhere, even if you have really good equipment. If you're screwing up, and that's just that. Searching for some artifacts here because there's a bunch of anomalies. These anomalies are part of the zone. Anomalies are areas in the zone where the rules of physics and things like that are a little screwed up. These anomalies are called Fruit Punch, and they're essentially a corrosive acid that damages you in a burst when you get too close. Also, as you can see in the top left, I'm taking some corrosive damage just by being in this area because, of course, the air is basically caustic because of all these anomalies. This thing in my left hand is a detector. Ow! It allows me to detect artifacts, if there are any. Artifacts are special items that are very valuable if you want to sell them for glorious rubles, or if you want to equip them, and I'll show you a couple in a moment. Also, yes, I have a bolt. Anomalies trigger on metal. So you can actually trigger anomalies and test where they are by throwing bolts, as you can see this one over there. Bolts are actually quite useful. I should get out of this horribly caustic area, though. There we go. Uh-oh. We might have some combat. Those are fleshes, which are basically mutated pigs. I'm going to take care of them. This weapon has some very long range, and I've upgraded it significantly. Yeah! Apologies, everyone. I now realize this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a bit of a Franken video, I'm sorry to say, because apparently Stalker really hates DxTory, and it's barely allowing me to record, and I don't own Fraps because Fraps is awful. So yeah, this is going to be really difficult to do. I'd like to do more than just one video, but it looks like I'm not going to be able to, so I'm just going to have to try to cut this together as best as I can and hope it isn't too bad. Trying to make it smooth and not too jarring. I was in the middle of saying that I've upgraded that AKM significantly. It's a lot more accurate, less recoil and things like that, but well, things are crashing a lot. Stalker is notorious for having some issues. It crashes sometimes, and it works and doesn't work kind of on its own whim. Now, don't let that discourage you, because it works most of the time. The newest sort of version of Call of Pripyat, which I believe is 1.6.0.2, is pretty stable. SGM is also fairly stable. Just keep in mind you really should have about 3 gigs of RAM to dedicate to it, so you need a 64-bit system, but if you're a hardcore gamer and don't have a 64-bit system, then you should really upgrade anyway. So, artifacts. Let's talk about artifacts. These are artifact slots. I've got 2 of them right now. I have a Gravi, which increases my carry weight by 10 kilograms, which is a big deal, because you can carry 55 by default. But it gives me plus 2 radiation, which is a pretty large amount of radiation per second, which will quickly build up and kill me. So, I also have this, the Wrenched. Wrenched decreases my radiation by 3, which means it overpowers that, while also giving me 1 extra sort of bit of radiation deterrence, so that radiation isn't a big problem for me right now, which is why I've stocked up on a lot of vodka, which has anti-rad capabilities, and these radiation drugs. I also have this battery, which gives me even less radiation, more maximum weight, and some energy recovery, so I can sprint and stuff better. So as soon as I can get a new artifact slot, I'm also going to equip that. Now, there are also different types of drugs and things. As you can see, there are batteries for my detector, there are all kinds of crazy things. There are lots of weapons and stuff in this game, which is great, especially with SGM. So let's also just talk about, I suppose, the other games in general. And that is, Stalker is a hardcore survival FPS, yeah? So, they're difficult. They are fairly unforgiving. You can die very easily. Enemies die quickly, usually, but there are mutants and things which can be pretty bullet spongy. But it's supposed to be that way. Now, as a... good lord, I don't want to use the double grenade right now. As someone who loves these games, I mean, they're great. They have their share of problems, but I feel that this retrospective is well deserved. That was awful, because even though they're not perfect games, they're some of the best survival experiences I've had in gaming. I think they're wonderful games. They are janky, they're imperfect, and they're great. I mean, really, think of kind of like the Elder Scrolls games. There's a certain amount of personality in their jankiness, yeah? Like, go back to Morrowind and Oblivion with the Gamebryo engine. There's a certain quality in their glitches, their flaws, that makes them very endearing to their fans. Stalker is the same way. Can we not freeze after I shoot this pig, please? Gotcha. Alrighty then. So, Pripyat is creepy. Some other anomalies over there. So, while exploring the zone, you'll come across some fairly serious missions to take care of. There are lots of missions. As I said, this is an open world game. It is not really linear, although you are led along a linear direction. You will go from Zeton to Jupiter to Pripyat and so forth. However, you can go in between them whenever you want, and although there is a main quest line to follow, there are lots of side quests and lots of exploration and stashes to find, especially again with SGM. Stashes are exactly what they would sound like. They're rare equipment and artifacts and things like that that you can find by exploring. You kill an important person, they might have a thumb drive on them. You lick the thumb drive and it gives you the location of some of their swag and you can go grab it. Other very good points about the series is, of course, the modability. As you've seen, or as you've heard at least, lots of mods. Mods are good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with mods. They're objectively a good thing. Whether or not you like some of the mods is you know, entirely up to you. There are lots of horrible nude mods for every Elder Scrolls game ever, but modding is good. Modding is a very good thing. There's something about to see me. That top, that green bar on the top left of the screen is a vision bar, and something is seeing me, and I don't see it. And the blue one below it is sound. That's used for detection. So this game actually does have a stealth system in it. Lurk, the mod Lurk, expands on that significantly if you want like a stealth experience. There are lots of mutants over there. What are those? Well, as you can see, if you've noticed, there is that sort of orange tracer in the game, which is showing you that the game has ballistics, bullet physics. They are not hit-scan weapons. I don't point and shoot, and things die like a laser gun. Yeah, there are simulated ballistics in the game, which again ties into that hardcore experience. Just everything about the Stalker games is a hardcore experience. You know, people praise the Souls games, and for a good reason. They're great.
Find a way out. Help. We're running low on...
Because of that, the fact that every part of the game is catered to this hardcore crowd. Stalker is exactly the same way. Now, as a series, you don't have to play them in any particular order necessarily. I would play them just in the order they were released. Yeah? I mean, they do have a coherent story and some really interesting lore in the zone as it is, and some really cool stuff like that. But don't feel the need to skip them or play them in a certain order or whatever. Just play them. They're great. So in addition to the SGM mod links, I'll of course link you to this. That's a springboard anomaly. This particular game, Call of Pripyat on Steam, Gamersgate is having a pretty good deal right now, so I'll also link you to the Gamersgate Stalker collection. And yeah, so hopefully, you know, we get people interested. There are tons of... That's gonna kill me. That was an electro anomaly. We want to get tons of people interested in the Stalker games. There's already quite a... It's a cult following, yeah? They aren't super huge mainstream games. But there are a lot of people that are very dedicated. And again, just like the Souls games, it's got this hardcore cult following. One moment while I reload, because I can't go to the menus with my recording software running or the game will fall over. Be right back. Try not to step into electro anomalies. They don't like people. Right. As I said, anomalies trigger on basically magnetic resonance, and since the creatures of Earth have iron-based blood, well, as soon as you step into the middle one, it's gonna go off. I'd like to find some combat and stuff. Hopefully, it'll get light soon, so this entire video isn't green. But for now, we're doing this. Alright. Now, combat. Combat is obviously a big part of Stalker because it is a shooter. It is a survival shooter, in fact. So, combat is necessary. Missions will involve you shooting lots of dudes. Mutants aren't the only enemies. There are people, other Stalkers, other factions. There are factions in the game such as the Bandits, such as the Free Stalkers, such as Duty, which are like a paramilitary organization. Freedom, which are another kind of similar thing like that. There are zombies, which you have to fight. They aren't exactly what you think. They aren't actually undead. They are just... their brains are fried. Mostly from one of the key events that kind of defines the Stalker series, and that is blowouts, or emissions, which are crazy awesome, and I would like one to happen in this video, but it probably won't happen. They're essentially these crazy global events that spawn this massive wave of radiation psionic energy from the power plant. You have to take cover when one happens. Everyone will just stop fighting and start trying to find cover. If you are out in the open when one happens, you will die. There is no way around that, unless you have a very specific drug that is rare and expensive called an antibiotic. Other than that, well, good luck. You'll die. Now, there appears to be some stuff over here. Maybe I can search. So, think of this as a fairly Fallout-esque game. in the way, of course, it isn't post-apocalyptic. The whole world hasn't ended. This is just in the zone. However, it's a pretty post-apocalyptic type of universe, and you're scrounging for stuff. You know, that's how it works. You're taking whatever you can get. Now I've got a mission around here that involves these snipers. Let's see. In this quarry, apparently there are snipers, and I need to kill them. Let's see if we can find them. I'm gonna not turn on my flashlight because it will make me very easy to spot. Enemies are very smart in this game. They will flank you, they'll use group tactics, they'll use grenades to flush you out, especially modded, but even in vanilla, the AI in these games is actually pretty great. Aside from some funny bugs and things like that, they're difficult to kill, they're smart, and the lethality of combat is a big focus of these games, meaning bullets hurt. Even a pistol will kill you. You know, it's a bullet. You will die if you get hit by it. And if, you know, you're earlier into the games, you're not super well armored. And even later on when you are quite well armored, you know, you don't last a long time in firefights. A big focus of a good survival experience, in my opinion, should be the lethality of combat. Combat should be decisive. It should be quick. And although you can have some epic extended firefights and things like that, it isn't against one or two enemies, it's against a horde of them, because, you know, individual enemies aren't going to be soaking up hours of your gameplay time. Okay! Whew! Right. Let's, get a first aid kit. Hopefully try and stop the bleeding. Oh, wow. Yeah, I just got hit hard. That was obviously a sniper rifle. Alright, use some of those first aid kits and not die. So I've got to watch for that green meter up there. When it starts filling up, that means they can see me. And obviously there are lots of even more hardcore players that disable those meters. I'm not that hardcore. I'm playing on the normal difficulty. There are a few difficulties, including the hardest unlockable difficulty by the name of Wizard, which is probably the best thing. It's kind of getting light, but not quite there yet, and I don't want to turn my flashlight on to make me even easier to spot. So I bet they're up, are they up there? Okay, whoa, wait, I saw the flash. Whoa, okay, yeah, the muzzle flash is coming from over there. Also, mark of a good PC game, it's got lean. Or mark of a good shooter, anyway, that is obviously a PC game, you can lean. Oh, crap. I was kind of using myself as bait there, hoping that it wouldn't hit me, and it did. Well, dang it. Alright, one more reload. Yeah, so what was I saying about the lethality of combat again? Yeah, this isn't beginning of the game armor. This is pretty good armor. This is expensive armor. It is upgraded with extra armor. It has full durability. I had full health. I got killed in one shot. That's just how the games work. I put myself out there for a minute as bait, and that turned out to be the end of me, it seems. Alright, so there's at least one of them, and they're out there in the field somewhere. Might be a little easier to do this during the daytime, because they seem to have very good vision of me. Alright, there's some radiation here, but I don't have to worry about the buildup because it's not very fast, and the artifact that I have will take care of it for me. Alright, I don't want to be spotted because they can one-shot me. If the initial bullet damage doesn't kill me, the very severe bleeding that it causes will. Because it is obviously, as a high-powered rifle, it is a piercing weapon, meaning it causes a large amount of bleeding to occur. Me being human is not the best. Now the fact that, okay, I'm in the same spot and they didn't see me at first kind of makes me think that they're patrolling. So they're moving about. The Geiger counter's freaking the heck out. Maybe it would be smart to use my upgraded binoculars. Whoa! Okay. Hi. There. Where are you people? I don't see them anywhere. Which is very unfortunate because they can clearly see me. I can only attempt a couple of these shots out before they nail me, and I will be very dead. Yeah, that is not helping at all. It needs to be daytime. Also, this staticky effect because I'm standing close to an irradiated thing is not helping matters. Alright, I'm just gonna have to... Alright. Yep, I see. They're on top of that. Alright, we'll see what we can do. That should be in my range of fire. Whoa. Well, that was... Whoa, Kate. Jeez. You can actually crouch even lower than that if you want. Oh, there are a couple of them. Lovely. Man, those weapons... Whoops, wrong hotkey. Those weapons have some very serious piercing effects. They cause, like, really bad bleeding. Alright, there's one of them down. There we go. Alright. Considering that didn't complete the mission, that means there's at least another one. And that little one next to the time on my map up there is telling me that there's one more PDA that's detected in the area, which... Oh, two more. Which means that, well, it's gotta have an owner. Alright. Uh-oh. I'm seeing an enemy. The minimap doesn't magically detect all enemies. But if they are making a lot of noise or you actually physically see them, then they will show up as a red dot. But they don't show up as one constantly. Alright, we're gonna toss a grenade out there. Oh, looks like they did it too! Okay, a little bit of bleeding, not a big deal. My grenade missed, naturally. Alright. Actually, him coming up this close with a rifle like that probably isn't the best idea. Okay. Let's toss another grenade out there. Nope. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry for the patchwork nature of this video. Just DxTory does not want to work with Stalker. So I need to come to some conclusions before it crashes on me again. It's not necessarily Stalker's fault. It doesn't normally do this. It's just... It's DxTory being contrarian, I guess. But, it's taking me like half an hour to record every 10 minutes of footage. It's gonna take me so long to edit this together into some sort of coherent, usable video. Ow. Alright, let's not die. Oh, jeez. Alright, yeah, this is actually a pretty tough mission. These guys are well armed. That is the gist of the game. Essentially, this is actually kind of good to see. You are you're outdone in a lot of different ways. You have to outsmart people. You know, they out-armor me, they outgun me, they outnumber me. So I've got to be creative, I've got to be resourceful, and I've got to be really careful in order to be able to cause any sort of damage to them whatsoever. So, you know, I've died several times, but I just keep coming back and trying things a different way. I obviously needed to use a lot of cover there because single shots can kill me, so I need to lean, use cover, be slow. And I am rewarded with success and loot. The purest form of success. That is a USAS. I'll take that. Yes, please. That's a carab... Oh, man, these are some good guns. Yeah, I'll take all of that. I've got, like, no ammo for any of them, but that's the point. So, let's talk about this issue really quick. This game has a 2-weapon system, meaning you can only equip 2 weapons at a time. However, it is a survival game. That is a limitation imposed upon you. The reason that isn't actually true, that it doesn't have a strict 2-weapon system, is because you can carry as many weapons as you want. However, it's a trade-off, because, obviously, weight. The more weight you carry, the slower you move, and the faster your energy is reduced, so you can't sprint and stuff for as long. And there are various trade-offs, including, of course, you've got to eat to keep that up there, your energy regeneration up. Hell, you can even take an energy drink or drink an energy drink if you want to increase your recharge rate and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that pretty much sums it up. That is the Stalker experience. We're talking a really good, legit survival game, a series, in fact, with lots of replayability, lots of modding, and a heavy emphasis on actual hardcore survival, and no catering to a more casual crowd. So once again, I heavily apologize for the fact that this video is not going to do Stalker justice, because all the detail I wanted to go into, I am unable to, because apparently DX Tory and Stalker don't go together. I'm doing what I can. This is going to take me forever. It already has. But anyway, if I can at some point, I'd like to maybe make an amended video if I can fix some things up. But fact is, I really want to get this video out there because I feel like, well, the game still deserves some attention. And with things like Metro Last Light and things like Servarium, you know, on the horizon, and things like the survival genre kind of being revived recently and having some interesting life pumped into it, I feel like these games shine on their own, and they're worth knowing about and they're worth educating people about. So, folks, Stalker. This has been Stalker Call of Pripyat with the SGM 2.2 mod, and all of the links I talked about I will indeed put in the description if this video makes it out. I hope it does, because this is kind of, like I said, kind of a Franken video. So we will end with a beautiful view in the zone, in the area outside of Jupiter, south of the power plant, being surrounded by Snorks, the worst mutants in the series. Such as life in the zone. I'll see you guys next time.